in. Are y'all recording? I mean, video?
Yeah, we're videoing it now.
Okay, ready? And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, and welcome to another exciting episode of Into His Courts. My name is Pastor Skip. I have my host with me today, none other than Pastor T-Mac, Tim McMurtry.
Whoop, whoop.
None other than W.W. Willie Wade.
Hey.
And I got some special guests with me, all the way from Oklahoma, none other than Chip Brim.
Hey.
And our local
What?
pastor,
Welcome.
Mr. Pastor Marlon Locke.
Ogberg in the building.
All right. So check this out. We got some amazing people here, an eclectic look of sports and love for faith. But, you know, Chip, right now we're deep in the heart of a pennant race, a series race. And you used to be connected to the Houston Astros and that club.
Yeah.
Let me ask a question. How did you, now you've been a high school coach, elementary coach, college coach, and you've won.
Professional.
And professional.
Yeah.
You've won rings on every level,
Yeah.
right?
Ain't no thing if you don't win the ring.
Hey, that's what it's all
Second
about.
place is like kissing your sister.
Ooh, right. Nasty.
You're right.
So check this out. What kind of scriptures, being a man of faith, being a man of the word, what kind of scriptures did you use and how did you keep the guys motivated, their faith going in the direction you wanted? How were you able to do that?
Well, there's many ways, but I think the most important way is to change everything was life and death's in the power of the tongue. You're going to have what you say.
Right.
Now, we got to change that. Champions have a different language. Whoever you are, whoever's watching this, if you want to win a champion life, you want to live a champion life, you have to change your vocabulary. I made them change their vocabulary. Right. The reason why they can't hit the slider is because they're saying they can't hit the slider.
Right.
And then I would bring the medical science to it and then back it with scripture. Because I would bring the medical part of it and show them this study that was done in Korea by a top neurologist, and he said he did a study of the brain for 10 years, and he found out, this is not a Christian, he found out that the speech center of the brain controls the whole body. So when you say and you speak, your nerves, your organs, everything in your body hears that command, and it takes it like a little army and becomes that what you say. And he said the part that we're not doing is we're not reversing it. And he said one of the very first study that he did was, and this is what I still speak to professional teams now, and I bring this to them. I said, the reason why you can't hit threes is because you're saying you can't hit threes. Your body is taking that command.
Right.
They said the very first study that we did, and it took them 10 years, was on retired people. He said when people start saying they're retired, their body takes that command, and they're headed for a quick death. He said they are going to die. He said in this study, they die quicker than people who don't say they're retired. Wow. Because their body is only hearing, we're done. Wow. When you hear retired, you're done. It's finished working. He said the next thing he said was, we live in a tired society. Have you ever seen how many energy drinks there are out there?
Yeah.
He said, I mean, there's Red Bull. I don't have to go through all of them, but you
Rockstar,
know what I'm talking about.
right.
He said the reason is because we say, and we're not trying to be bad people, evil people, or lack of faith people. We just tell our spouse, honey, I'm tired. We communicate. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. The problem is you're not reversing that. Your nerves don't get that command, so you wake up tired. So
Right.
you're never speaking energy. So what do I say? Well, champions have a different language. Right. So you change your vocabulary and say, I never get tired. Boy, you look tired. I don't care. You look like you feel tired. Listen, I never get tired. I'm sleepy and I need to get some rest, and I'm going to get some good rest tonight.
Right.
But I don't get tired. I have all kinds of energy. I'm going to wake up energized.
Right.
That right there will get you off the caffeine. That right there will change your life. So what do I say to them? And I show them in the Bible that you have what you say. Your tongue is the rudder of that ship, and whatever ship and direction you want to go, you're going to have to change that. So there will be nothing but champion talk from now on.
It's amazing. And I love that you said that because the Bible says that the worlds were framed by the
words.
With words.
That's how he created the universe. It's laws. They're spiritual laws.
It was framed that way. So it was made to be whatever it's going to be according to what we say. And so if that's how the world was framed, then that's how we're going to have to frame our world.
There you go. That's right.
And so what you did was said, listen, Change what you say so you can change what you do.
Yeah, there you go.
And until you change what you say, you'll keep doing the same things you've been doing.
That's right.
That's good.
Pastor Locke,
Yes, sir.
you love basketball almost as much as me. Let me ask you a question.
I caught that.
Almost.
Almost, you know. I'll give you 1A.
Lower level, lower
Right, right. I'm trying to bring you up to a higher level.
I appreciate
That's
it.
why we're here. You love basketball a lot. And in understanding the game of basketball, when you got to a place where when you realized I'm good and your faith began to kick in, what did you say or do to get you to that next level?
Wow. Such a loaded question, man. But when I got to that place where I said I was good, I've always had somebody to let me know I wasn't as good as I thought I was, and that's what kept pushing me. I've always had. I'm the baby boy. I've always had older brothers that whenever I thought I got to a certain level, they made sure, somehow I wasn't either strong enough, I wasn't mentally strong enough. So after I realized physically I could do it, it really became a mind game of mentally knowing, you know what, I can win. If I can win mentally, physically I got you. So I think for me it was a thing of just knowing that, I am good, but in order for me to become great, I got to continue to put, even more work in. And that's kind of where it was for me.
Right, well,
And the other thing is, he liked being a lock. And if you're a lock, you got to drop it like it's hot. And ain't nobody in his family that can't shoot it from deep. So he liked being a lock. He liked being in that family. So if he couldn't drop it like it was hot, he had to be a Smith or a Davis or a Brown. So that motivated him to get in that gym and drop it like a lock.
It's, people can use obstacles or somebody coming against them two ways. It can either break them down or it can build them up.
That's true.
When I played, I loved playing away games. I loved it. That was the funnest to me because you would get a chance to shut their crowd down. You would get a chance to shut down the naysayers. Everybody say, you ain't good. Y'all team stink. Y'all, you just motivated me to give you a 50-piece tonight. And there has to come a time in your life where that translates from life, from basketball, that court, to your life. That haters become now your motivators.
That's true. Right. Yes.
Haters become the reason why I get up earlier than I did. Haters become the reason why I get in this word more, why I pray more, why I work more. Because you said I can't, not only am I going to prove to you that I can, but I'm going to prove to you that I can way above how much you thought I couldn't. I'm going to double that with what I think I can do.
Oh, yeah.
I think, Pastor Skip, that really speaks to what you have going on the inside, too. On the court, I was like you. I was football and track were my things. And playing those away games when the crowd is talking crazy, not only am I going to score a touchdown, but I'm a clown in the end zone and do a dance and all of that as well. It stemmed from belief, though, in me that no matter that you're playing defense or you're presenting opposition, I'm going to score because I'm that good. And when it translates into life, in the workplace, business, policy with government, you have to still come to those places with that same confidence that I'm going to win. So if somebody sends an email and they CC your direct report or what have you, or you get into it with a client, you still have to have a mindset of, I am a champion even in this. On the field, off the field, I'm a winner.
Right. Yes. And that probably one of the best coaches I had in my life used to say this line to us, and this is true. He said, your game is indicative of your life. Your game is indicative of your life. And what he meant by that is if you don't play defense on the court, you won't play defense in life. If you don't hustle on the court, you won't hustle in life. If you don't try with second effort, if you're not a team player, if you don't do that on the basketball court, if you're a selfish player, he said his experience of looking back at his players and people he coached, that same thing played out in their life. So your sports game, your hoop game is indicative of your life. So if you played with some people or you know some people that were in your midst that were athletes, look at how they were then and look at how they are now, and you'll see a very, very distinct resemblance of their hoop game, their attitude, and the way their life is. And that's the reason why faith is important.
No doubt.
That's the reason why faith is important. Because, Pastor Skip, you talked about the road games. But when you go on the road and you got everybody against you, you got to have faith that you can go into the lion's den and come out alive.
That's right.
And sometimes that's what it takes. But if you was a weak person or excuse maker, those people don't normally become victorious in sports nor in life.
Right. Pastor Chip, I had a quick question for you. We are in the midst of a phenomenal baseball run with our Brewers. Came in, won the division, Central Division in the National League, now in the National League Championship Series. I know you were with the Houston Astros when they won some championships as well. It looks like there's a look in the eye of the players. We had a 6-1 lead last night. The Dodgers came back, scored a couple runs. We, pulled it out. And the team has not lost in the playoffs. Is there a way you can tell whether a team is in that run of, wait a minute, these guys actually believe in themselves or not? What is that eye of the tiger, if you will, that teams have that you can say, okay, they believe now?
Well, when it comes to playoffs, we used to say throw all the stats and the records out the book. Everything's wiped clean. And the one who usually wins it, usually at that time, is the hottest one. Right. It's not the most talented. The most talent don't always win.
No doubt.
And so that hot, the momentum, Big Mo's on your side. Okay. And what is that? Faith, believing. You believe. Yes. Ball bounces your way. You create opportunities. You don't wait on them, man. You believe and know when you're going in there. And so that is what I see in the Brewers right now. They're scary right now. Now, if I had to rank them, talented-wise, pitching staff-wise, and everything, the Brewers would be 4 of
the remaining
four.
Final Four.
But that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
But when you talk about hottest, they're the hottest, and what that means is they believe in it, and team has everything to do with it. And if you got a bunch of individuals out there, and they're about their stats and their numbers, and I want to be MVP or whatever, that ain't going to cut it. It's who believes in each other, who loves each other. The one who's going to win it is the one who's the most team. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
The one who loves each other like brothers and family.
Right.
The one who's the most because every time a championship team wins it, and you interview them for that 60, whatever they have, E60, whatever, they go, we're like family, man.
Yeah.
We did everything together.
Yes.
And so that has a lot to do with it. They believe. It's faith.
Yes.
But it's not just faith in you. It's also faith in each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's faith in each
I
other.
got you, man. I got
because
you back.
I have to believe, if I'm a pitcher, that if for some reason I put the ball at the wrong place, if he hits that ball out there, my outfielder's going to catch it.
Right.
Even if he hits it out. I remember going out to the mound and going, and the infield would come in, and the pitcher's down. Dude, I'd have shortstop going, I'll get you another run. Don't worry about it. Let's get out of this thing.
Right.
When I'm up next inning.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll get on, and I'll get you. This thing ain't. Oh, come on.
Right.
That's good.
And he look at him. Back, come on. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes.
And it's the same way with David and God. That's called covenant. I'm getting excited. See, David knew he wasn't alone. That was a win-win situation.
Right.
That's why David said, what's the winner get? That's what he said. Y'all ought to go back and read that story.
That's true. He did.
He said, what's the winner get? How big's the ring? What do you mean the king's daughter? Is she hot? I've been out with these sheep a long time. Is she hot? I want to know. Don't talk to me about her personality. Is she hot?
Right.
Come on.
Right.
He was prize-minded. When win this thing. Because he said, he's uncircumcised. He ain't even on the right team.
Right.
God's got my back.
Yes.
Right.
Amen.
And he's on my team. He's up next.
Yes.
Right.
You know, oh
Yeah,
man, I'm getting a little
yeah,
loud.
that's-
Sorry, sound people.
No,
That's
you're
good.
good.
That's good.
But that's a mentality that you have to get.
Yeah.
Because you can't have that just in the regular season. But that has to go to even a next level for the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Because David had that mentality when it was the lion.
Yeah, that's see the line.
He had, right, he had that mentality when it was the bear.
Yeah.
But there's a different level of, God, you got me on this, for the giant.
Yeah, that's right.
But the first thing David had to do was remind himself. Took out the lion, took out the bear. Now I'm coming against this uncircumcised Philistine.
Didn't have a covenant.
Right.
Rap,
Not even on
got him.
Well,
Got him.
The Packers took out the bear,
Oh, he was a cheesehead.
but they got ate up by the lion. So,
Right.
so
They
Pastor Locke.
They didn't talk to David. Pastor Locke, was it a challenge for you when you had the basketball career, growing up with, older brothers that would, put you in your place when you got, too big for your britches, so to speak? The transition from athletics to pastoring, were there some clear parallels that you saw? Question number 1A. Question 1B, was it difficult for you to give up the pursuit of the basketball career to go into the ministry, given that history and legacy of ministry that was in your
Well, I answer
family?
that one first. It wasn't good enough to go to a higher level.
Gotcha.
I was good enough to play Division I. I got recruited by University of Texas, El Paso, UTEP.
Oh, okay.
But I had my oldest daughter at the time, and the police department called me. So that's how I ended up going into law enforcement, because do I take another 2 years and try to go down to Texas? But I got this child, so I had to kind of I made the decision. My dad overdosed on heroin when I was 11 years old. And I made a vow to myself and to God, when I do have children, I'll always be there for them. So it wasn't even a man, should I try to go D1? No, I'm going to become a cop and do what I need to do. And the parallels, I think basketball, sports in itself, but because I played ball, I think I think like it's a shirt I got that says basketball is life. I really believe basketball is life, because you can translate from off the court, to life in so many, again, yes, parallels. So it's evident in anything. My biggest thing when I became pastor, April 8th, 2009, before my granddad passed, to make a long story short, he said, son, many are going to leave because they're going to feel that you're too young. But he said, many will come. Right? He said, remember, God got the whole world in the palm of his hand. Right? He said, you have no worries, right? So I knew just when. So my first 3 years of being a pastor, it wasn't even, and I know this, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm just being honest, it wasn't even to really please God. It was so my haters, I'm going to win. Just because you think I'm not going to be good at it, and I really had no training, watch me.
Yeah.
Then I realized, okay, let me do this for the right reason. I do got to help some
Okay,
people, but
Lord, this is for you.
I'm just being honest. God, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's for you. But that's my heart. I'm speaking from my heart. I'm being honest.
Gotcha. Appreciate your honesty.
want to say something?
Will, what?
Oh yeah, the parallels, like he said. I mean, when you are doing sports, sports and entertainment is one of the things, music, that brings us all together. It's really that international language that we all understand, and that's the reason why you see so many people in the stadium and not that many people on the field, because we marvel at the abilities that athletes, entertainers, singers, dancers, that's why we put on our best clothes to go down and see a performance, because it takes a high level of skill, commitment, training to perform on that level. But the same thing is true in the clergy. And in this town, we've been blessed with a lot of outstanding, excellent clergy in this town.
Amen.
Truly blessed. And Pastor Locke being one of them. But the same thing. It's a lot of people who are in the gym playing basketball, but they're not doing all the things that they need to do to rise to that level where they can have a flock and people believe in them, that they can lift those people up. Just like Michael Jordan lifted up the rest of the Jordaires because of the confidence and the faith and the work that he put into his craft. That's the same thing clergies have to do in order to have a successful ministry. So the parallels are evident. The last thing is, if you are going to be a leader, you need to walk in the light. You need to be an example. You need to be somebody worthy of being followed. And the only way you can be worthy of being followed is that you got to put the work in that it takes to be able to perform at the right level when it's time. And that's universal. That's universal. So a lot of parallels in it.
We're going to close with this. I'm blessed to have in the audience here my college coach, Lance Ivy's here. When I was down at Rhema, he's here. And when he would have us practice, he'd have us practicing at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm thinking to myself, only Jesus is up at 5 in the morning.
or Willie Wade going fishing.
Right. But he would have us up at 5 in the morning. And what he was doing was teaching us a discipline of, if you get up early, you get the work in. Because when everybody else is sleeping, you getting the work in. And that translated over to my life, that if I want to win, I got to get up earlier than my haters. One of the things I realize is I don't have a PhD, I don't have a master's degree, but they get up at 8. If I want to compete with them, I got to get up at 4 and beat them. Amen. I got to get there before they get there.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
And that's what I learned going through the whole disciplines of going to practice early. If you want to beat the next team, get up before they do.
Yes.
If you want to be better than the next, get up before they do. They may be more talented, but if you outwork them, you're going to beat them.
What fueled that desire? What kept you going, particularly when it was wintertime and it's dark outside and it's cold? What kept you going in that disciplined way?
My absolute disdain for losing.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I absolutely hate losing, and whatever I got to do to win, let's do that. And if there's something I'm doing that's adding to my ability to lose, I'm stopping it. I am stopping it. I'm changing my thinking. I'm changing my habits. I'm changing my routine, because losing is not what I was made to do. Losing is not what's on the inside of me. And anything outside of the victory that's on the inside of me absolutely drove me bonkers. So I had an absolute hate for losing. But let me do this. Man, this show is absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for being a part. But we got to wrap up, fellas. Listen, thank you, audience, for being here with us. You can tune in again next week at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 7:30, right here on Joy 1340. And until next week, fellas, let's be amazing.
Amen.
Right.
That's
All right.
Tuesday
Amen.
at 7 o'clock p.m. Tuesday, 7 p.m.
All right.
Amen.
All right.
All right, that's it. It's a wrap. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Excellent.